I'm sick. I'm also not feeling very well. But I have enough of my taste come back now that I can do a whiskey review. And I'm sorry that I didn't film anything last week. There was a very minor sporting event that kept me distracted over the weekend. There was a Scotsman in the pub who just kept shouting, "Balls on the floor, balls on the floor." I looked down, sure enough, my bollocks are dragging along the Formica. That's the only rugby joke you're getting, so enjoy it. Anyway, we have a bottle of whiskey here today. This is the Lagavulin 16. If you clicked on the video then, you'll know that already because it will be all over the place. I'm going to put it in this tiny little glass that I found, which is very exciting. And I'm going to drink it and tell you about it. I've had a couple of hammers out of this before. I've had Lagavulin 16 before as well. It's rather nice, if memory serves. The whiskey community has fallen out of love with Lagavulin 16, not because the whiskey has changed much, but more that the price has skyrocketed. I got this one on sale, and it worked on me, because instead of being like, 70 odd quid or something is what they're charging for it now, it was 52, something like that. So that was nice. So I ended up picking up a bottle because I was like, well, it's probably the last chance I'm going to get to drink it at even a reasonable price. 55 for a 16-year-old. I don't hate that. I mean, it's 43%, is it 43 actually? Or am I pulling that out? It is 43, yes. Still a little delirious from all the Lemsip. I've coloured, chill filtered, all the usual stuff, all the stuff that people were more than willing to forgive when it was, what was it, like 40 odd quid a bottle at one point. And then Diageo were like, hang about, it's 16 years old, whiskey's expensive, let's jack up the price massively. And it wasn't that they put it up just to make up, differences in like bottle production and fuel and all the rest of it. It was just they kind of spotted, hang on, we're making a lot more money off of this, and just jacked up the prices. They did it with a fair few of their higher age statement products as well. It was not the only one. Task 18, similar bollocks going on. I've said bollocks twice in the same video. How unusual of me to swear. So, like a 16, I broadly, as a publican, have supplanted it for the 8, because sure, I get plenty of people in through the door who just know Lagavulin as a name, and I could probably charge full whack for it. But I go with the 8 instead, because I can bring the price down to something that people are expecting from a Lagavulin. If I'm charging like 13 quid a nip or something for Lagavulin 16, then I'm going to have hell to pay. If I'm going to charge 13 quid for a whiskey, it better be worth £13. And spoilers, this isn't. Is it worth £55 a bottle? Well, that's what we're here to find out today. Because apparently the sale for this was supposed to be limited 6 weeks ago when I bought it, and it still seems to be going on. At least it is in Royal Mile Whiskies on the Royal Mile in Edinburgh, because they still have a thing up in the window for it. Or they did do 2 days ago. So, yes, I did hear mention somewhere, I think I was listening to a podcast, wasn't the Whiskey Rant, it was one of the Whiskey Stories I think I was listening to, and they were talking about how it is perpetually on sale. So see the strategy there. Obviously I picked it up before I realised that it was one of these kind of cycling things. My dad used to be quite good at keeping an eye on these kinds of things, like, because he'd notice things when you pick up at Morrison's or something. It's like, it was this price this week, and then it's on sale, and it'll go back up to that price for 2 weeks to say that it's on sale again, but actually the sale's the real price. He raised a very cynical man, but hey-ho. Right, so, in the glass, the colour is irrelevant. These glasses are adorable. I'm drinking it out of a teeny tiny tumbler today, because I have not had a chance to shave, much less do the washing up, as you can probably tell from my horrendously dishevelled appearance. Did I have hair the last time I was doing one of these? A fortnight changes a man greatly. Initial impression, it's got sort of a medicinal honey kind of a hit to it. It's like, maybe this is just from recent experience, but like honey and lemon cough drops. It's medicine, but there's just enough of that kind of like sweet and sour in it that you're like, oh yeah, this is tolerable, I suppose. Getting a little bit of that on first impression. I mean, the smoke is there, obviously, but it's not as prominent as I remember from having last tried it. Very earthy, green, quite vegetal as a smell. It's reminding me a little bit of sort of the smell of sauerkraut. It's sort of acidic, vegetal, slightly bitter aromas. Little spice. And of course the smoke is just kind of like an all-encompassing note the whole way through. Some of these whiskies, like, first and foremost, you can gain smoke. But it's about picking out anything else that you can. It's trickier with your smoky ones. But hey, that's what cellars are here for. I'm noticing some gubbins on here as well, actually. I was just talking about units and stuff. Is this nutritional information? 25ml is 60 kilocalories. So there you go. And it is 0% of nutrition across the board. So that's fun. It's just raw calories. We kind of knew this about alcohol already, but it's not going to stop anyone. Right. Initial impressions. Very woodsy, clean smoke. With ash, it's a little nutty. It doesn't have the sort of medicinal TCP, iodine kind of notes that you get from something like Lafroig or other Islers. It's very clean, natural smoke. There's a little bit of a fruit element coming in as well. A very faint lick of apple. It's a little bit thin, I would say. It's, I don't know, it's not grabbing me and throwing me around and in the ways that I mean, when I think of like your heavily, well, not even your heavily peated, but like, you know, your typical peated Islers, they have something in common in that they're kind of like, hey, I love you, but in a kind of safe word kinky kind of a way. I'm surprised I like them as much as I do, really, having just said that. But this doesn't have as much of a whip crack about it, I suppose, for want of a better way of saying it. The smoke is the first thing that you notice up front. I mean, it's rich, it's clean, it's consistent. There is a citrusy note coming through, a little bit of lemon. And again, it's just this kind of woodsy, sort of damp bark element. There's a little bit of like stewed tea in there as well, like something quite delicate, like an oolong. It is, I mean, it's a perfectly pleasant whiskey. I mean, you know, again, people did not fall out of love with this because of how it tastes. It's quite a grassy, clean, simple smoke to it. The more I'm having it, there is a little bit of a heavy-handed ethanol burn, which is weird because obviously 43% is neither sort of meat nor fish at that ABV. It's just kind of 43% confuses me a little bit. I don't hate whiskies that are presented at 43. Like I'm not going to go out and kill people because they're bottled at 43%. In fact, again, we'll be coming to lower ABV stuff in the coming weeks, I'm sure. But spoilers. It's odd. It kind of imbalances this a little bit. It feels like the flavour of the whiskey isn't getting through. It's just it's booze more than anything else. There's something just a little bit. It feels a bit wonky. I think that's what I'm trying to stumble towards. It feels a little bit wonky as a whiskey. I don't hate it. I'm glad I have a bottle. Would I pick it up again? So the problem with the Lagavulin 16, they're very much resting on their laurels with this. You know, it's a bottle that people went towards because it was a high age statement and affordable. And also, the market wasn't as heavily saturated. Not to say that they didn't do a fair bit of work with it, with like the malts range in the 80s and 90s, but there's a lot more competition now. If you want an affordable smoke experience, not necessarily a high age statement, but this doesn't really cover that base anymore either, because they've decided they want a bit more money for it. You have a ton of options. I mean, I'd take a Kilchoman Snake over this, no problem. I think Old Ballantrae does, for like, you know, what you're looking to spend, I think Old Ballantrae does a better job of like delivering a peat-rich experience. You know, if you want a bottle of bonfire smoke at the end of the day, this is good. Is it worth the money? That's what you'd probably think twice. Does it make a good gift whiskey? Maybe to somebody who likes their whiskey but doesn't like it, you know, doesn't live and breathe it. Because I've got a bottle of Lagavulin 16. I'd be like, thank you very much for the bottle of Lagavulin 16, because I'm polite and I was raised well. But in my head I'd be thinking, you could have saved yourself a bit of cash. I'd be kind of feel bad. So it's about the value proposition as much as anything else, because at the end of the day, yeah, it's a well-known name and it's a high age statement. Does it deliver on those things? Not based off of what I'm getting here. I'm struggling to say anything about it. I think that you've probably noticed as well, like I'm going in for sips and I'm like, what am I getting out of this? And the answer is, I'm getting whiskey and I'm getting smoke and I'm getting like a couple of other residual flavours, but I don't know. Is it just me? Maybe it's just me. I don't think I have anything else to say about this. I want to cover it, because obviously it's an old stalwart, and I thought we'd maybe linger on this for a good long while and we'd be like, oh hey, yeah, it's got loads going on. Is it a complex whiskey? No. Sorry. Am I surprised I'm saying that? Yeah. Yeah. Genuinely. It's nice. I feel a little hard done by, having paid even the knockdown price for it. It's nice to have a 16% whiskey to sip on, obviously, you know, not going to complain about that. With a bit of air, it's opening up to a little bit of sweetness, a little more honeyed. But again, there's just that finish. It's a very rough finish. Oh boy. Yeah. I'm a big fan of newer distilleries. I like that we're getting lots of new distilleries. I like that they are showing what you can do with young whiskey. And I think something like this, sort of the old guard, are going to start really struggling, because I've had some lovely young whiskey that does a much better job than this stuff. Yeah, that's it. That's my thing. What do you think of the Lagavulin 16? You a fan of it? Do you prefer the 8? What is your go-to smoky whiskey? It can be as niche as you want, it can be as easy to get as you want. I dropped by the V-Pub a couple of weeks ago, and Roy was mentioning that he'd had the Kilchoman Snake recommended to him. Or Kilchoman Snake, I should say. And apparently, a few folk have been sleeping on it and just been like passing over. It's like, oh yeah, whatever. That surprises me. I just kind of thought it was on everyone's radar. It's certainly been on mine quietly for the last few years. Lovely stuff. Genuinely lovely stuff. They're another one where was it a 16-year-old they released recently? It was a high age statement, and they were charging an absolute fucking fortune for it. I think it was a 16 as well, wasn't it? Yeah. We sort of saw this a few years ago with the Amburek, where they basically bottled a bottle of fuck up, and then they made it hyper premium through the advertising speak, basically. I bought a bottle, I tried it. I'll try and link to that video, actually. It was nice, but it needed some help. Would I rather have a bottle of Amberwick than this? Yeah. Even with all the bollocks, it still had more going for it. Yeah, I mean, I'm not angry that I have this. You know, I don't find it disgusting. It's certainly not unpleasant. If you were to share this with some friends, nobody would complain. But there's something a little bit sad about it. It feels like it's lost its luster. But hey-ho, them's the breaks. I should be returning next week with another video. There's another home game next week, so I'll try and pre-record this time because that was where I fell down. But yes, thank you very much for joining me. Leave your comments down below. If you enjoyed this kind of content and want to see more of it, make sure to subscribe and ring the bell because that'll alert you to when I do things. And that can be sporadic, unfortunately. But yeah, that's all my thoughts. Leave your comments down below, thumb the video and all that nonsense. Sorry Mo hasn't made an appearance. He's hiding in the other room just now. But until then, thank you very much for watching, and do join me next time where I'll be drinking something else.